Good morning, students. Discussing about the immunity, we have discussed the innate immunity. Now today we are going to start the acquired immunity. Acquired immunity. As we have already discussed, there are two types of immunity, innate and acquired. Acquired is also known as adaptive immunity, and it is also a specific immunity. Moving towards the acquired immunity, this is the immunity acquired by an individual after the birth. That's why it is called as acquired or adaptive immunity or specific immunity. It is specific and mediated by antibodies or lymphocytes which make the antigen harmless by any means, by killing or stopping their growth. So acquired immunity is the immunity which we adapt after a birth. Next is the characteristics of acquired immunity. In the characteristics of acquired immunity, the first one is specificity. As the word suggests, specificity, this is the ability to differentiate between foreign molecules. How it is mainly specific, provide the specificity for the self and non-self out of the body, which are non-self, that is foreign molecule, will be recognized and will be eradicated or destroyed by antibody or lymphocytes. The next characteristics is diversity. Diversity is the ability to recognize a vast variety of foreign molecules. So it can be easily recognized as it is very diversified from a cell body, so can be easily destroyed. The third is discrimination between self and non-self. It is very important for a body to recognize self as own and non-self as a foreign. Then only it can destroy and give response to the non-self and will avoid the response to the self. Next characteristic is memory based. To generate a memory, the immune system encounter the specific foreign agent and generates an immune response and eliminates the invader. So this first encounter will generate a memory, and this memory is retains in the body, retains the memory of the first encounter. If a second encounter occurs of the same foreign agent, if second encounter occurs, it responds more quickly and abundantly than the first encounter. So this is the memory based concept in the immune system. So these all are the characteristics of the acquired immunity. Now secondly, we are going to deal how this different lymphocytes are being formed. The first immune system is derived from a special type of cell present in the bone marrow. Bone marrow having a cell called pluripotent cells. Pluripotent stem cell. These are present in the bone marrow. These cells differentiate into different type of tissue cell, like they differentiated into lymphocyte, lymphoid stem cell. Now this lymphoid stem cells will further divide, they differentiated to give rise to different lymphoid cells. For example, the lymphoid cell differentiate into premature B cell and premature T cell. Now this premature B cell and T cell will migrate to their specific lymphoid organ for maturation. Like B cell will migrate to the further processing for bone marrow in mammals and bursa in birds. Likewise, premature T cell will migrate to the thymus for the maturation and processing. Now, in this lymphoid organ, premature will form a B cell, while the thymus will form a T cell. Now this B cell will give rise to two types of cells, which are memory B cell, which will be stored as a memory for the second encounter. And next is the plasma cell, which will produce antibodies. While likewise T cell will give rise to three cells: cytotoxic T cell, helper T cell, and memory T cell. This B cell will produce antibodies, Y-shaped structure, and this is responsible for T cell and responsible for giving the humoral immunity, while the T cell are responsible for giving the cell-mediated immunity. Now we'll discuss one by one the component of the next topic we're going to deal with: components of acquired immunity. In this we'll study the two types of immunity. The acquired immunity have two components. The first one we is going to deal is humoral immunity. Humoral immunity is also known as antibody mediated immune system, as they are regulated by the antibodies. It consists of antibodies that circulate in the body fluid, like blood plasma, the watery content of the blood, and lymph. As we all know, antibody is a specialized protein produced in the body in response to foreign antigen. So the B lymphocytes produces antibodies that regulates humoral immunity. Next, T lymphocytes themselves do not produce antibodies, but they help B lymphocytes to produce them, antibodies. Now, the bone marrow produces antibodies and mature there, as we have seen, and produces antibody, produces bone marrow, produces antibody and mature there. So this immunity is called antibody mediated immunity, or also known as humoral immunity. Next, there are two types of cells which are formed from the humoral B cells, or by the means of humoral immunity. First is plasma B cell. Plasma B cell. Plasma B cell. They are the activated B cells which are enlarged, divide and differentiates into plasma or effector. They live only for few days. Next, very important point, they secrete enormous amount of antibodies. Next cell is memory B cell. When activated, B cell do not differentiate into plasma cell, remains as memory. They have longer lifespan. Next important is they remains dormant, that is inactive, until activated by new quantity of same antigen. So these two types of effector and memory B cells are the part of humoral immunity. Next is clonal selection. Clonal selection. When antigen encounter, B cell get activated and divides, producing a clone. Same type of cell of daughter B cell. These clone give rise to plasma B cell and memory B cell. This phenomenon is known as clonal selection. That is, the B cell give rise to two types of cells. These are, first is plasma B cell and secondary is memory B cell. Will produce antibody and will give a humoral or antibody mediated immune response. Humoral immunity. Thank you. This is all about the acquired immunity we have discussed today. Tomorrow we'll discuss a second component, which is a cell-mediated immune response mediated by T lymphocytes.